What's up, everybody? We are back. It is Tuesday, and you know what time it is. It's time for the life of an entrepreneur. Now, I'm a couple minutes behind, and I apologize for that, but we'll try to make it up by me talking a whole lot less so that we can get our guest in here to take up all of that time. All right. So, as we tell you often, you need to get out your pen and paper if you're a pen and paper person, and that's how you take notes. If you take notes on an electronic device, you need to take notes on your electronic device. We have a wonderful guest again today. I'm excited to talk to her, excited for you to meet our guest today. So we're going to get right into the show, because here's the thing. I say this all the time. The life of an entrepreneur is a journey, and we want you to enjoy the journey. Part of you enjoying that journey is getting the phenomenal tips that you get from the life of an entrepreneur. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get prepared, we're going to buckle up, and we're going to get ready for another episode of the life of an entrepreneur. Let's go. Hey, 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 we are back. It's time for another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. I am your host, Oliver Marcel, author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building and men's enrichment spaces, with the goal being to do what's on my t shirt. My t-shirt says 2020 before hindsight. There are so many things that I've learned the hard way, things that I've learned through making mistakes and bad choices, and the list goes on and on and on. But it is my passion, my goal, to get at least one person in the world to gain some level of clarity on the front end before they do something, say something, become something, hang out with somebody that could throw off the trajectory of their lives. That is my life's goal. And listen, I would love it if you would support me by getting one of these t-shirts. This is actually my t-shirt. It's not just something, a cool t-shirt I found somewhere. This is actually my t-shirt. And so where you're watching this now, there is a link in that description that would allow you to purchase one of these, and I would be grateful. Listen, this show is sponsored by Love Entrepreneurs. And if you don't know what Love Entrepreneurs is a fellowship of business owners, entrepreneurs, with the sole goal of helping ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. And they do that in a number of ways. It is a phenomenal group of people. They do this in a number of ways. Their signature dish being the Big Fix. And we're going to talk about that with our guest a little later on today. All right. So let me do two quick things so that I can get my guest on, because we're going to try to make up the time, I said, right? So I'm going to try not to talk too fast, but I'm going to try to make the time up. The first thing I want to share with you is this. Normally we don't do this, but this is a great opportunity, so I'm going to share it with you. There is later today a webinar that Kane Minkus is doing. It is a free webinar. If you are not familiar with Kane Minkus, Google Kane Minkus. Don't do it right now because I want you to watch the show. But after the show, Google Kane Minkus, and you will recognize that he is the number one teacher in the world regarding AI. And he is doing a webinar called AI Unleashed. I will make sure that it is somewhere in the comments that you can register for this. So make sure that you are in the place. That is happening a couple hours from now. So wanted to share that. Now, real quick, every show I have something to say, and I'm going to keep this one real short. Here's what I have to say today. Today, I want to talk about success. And I'm going to share a quote from Albert Schweitzer that says, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. And I want to key in on that last part of that statement. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Now, notice it doesn't say what success is. It doesn't say if you love what you're doing, you will have a whole lot of money, or if you love what you're doing, you will have a house in every country in the world, or if you love what you're doing, you will grow your business to whatever, right? It says if you love what you're doing, you're going to be successful. My challenge for you today is to identify what success is to you. Often in this entrepreneurial space, we get caught up in the ideology of success. That ideology is often given to us by other entities. So, success may mean scaling your business to $1 billion, or success may mean whatever it is. And often, because we get that ideology from somewhere else, when we begin to evaluate where we are in our business, the tendency is for us to say we're not successful. So, question one, do you love what you're doing? Question one. That's the thing you really gotta get past. Do you love what you're doing? If the answer is no, there's probably some evaluation that needs to take place and subsequently some decisions that need to take place after that. If the answer is yes, you're successful. I'm just going to let that simmer and sit with you for a little while. I'm not going to expand on it. Maybe one day I will, but for right now, I'm just going to let that sit in your spirit and let it do what it does, because we want to get to our guest. So, number one, make sure you love what you're doing. If you don't, there's some work to do. And if you do, like Albert Schweitzer said, you will be successful. I take it a step further. You are successful. That's all I got for you today, because we got to get our guest in here. Listen, so we have a phenomenal guest today. She is all the way in India. So, first of all, let me just thank her publicly, because it's nighttime in India. So, where I am right now, it's mid morning. So, I'm fresh and I've had a good sleep, and I only been up for a little while, but her whole day has gone by and she is still taking the time to hang out with me here. So, we're talking to, and forgive me, Crisenta, if I mess this up. So you can correct me when you come on in just a moment. But we're talking to Crisenta Almeida, I think. We'll see. All right. So we're talking to Crisenta. Crisenta is a phenomenal individual. She is the director at Content Garage. And I'm only going to touch on two or three things that Content Garage does. But as it relates to creating content, as it relates to copy, writing, and editing, this is the go to. Okay. So we're going to talk to Crisenta in just one moment, as soon as I get my applause, because I am going to want to give her some applause when she comes in, right? So without further ado, let's bring on Crisenta Almeida, and she is going to be our guest today. Get ready, folks. Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here with me and taking some time out of your evening.
Yeah.
Don't take that lightly. Thank
Eh,
you for taking some time out of your evening to hang out with me today.
Oh no, it's an absolute honor, an absolute privilege to be here, and it's always lovely talking to you. So that's amazing. And yes, you did take my name right. My name and my surname. It's a very rare occasion for me because nobody gets it right in the first go. So thank you very much.
Yes, and I
Uh,
appreciate that, because what after I started the show, I was like, "Wait a minute. I've been saying her name, but I never really asked her how to say it." So I'm
Great.
glad I got it
You
right.
spot on. You also spot on with my brand name because people tend to mess that up as well sometimes. So
Okay. See, I'm listen, I'm knocking it out the park today. I love it. I love it. So listen, tell us who you are, tell us how you serve the world, and then we'll get into our conversation today.
absolutely. So, like Oliver introduced, I am Crisenta, Crisenta Almeida, Content Garage. That's my company. That's my baby. And Oliver, thank you. Really, you reminded me today that when you do something you love, you do what you love. Success follows. And for me, content writing and copywriting is my first love. So, guys, when speaking about Content Garage, we are a team of content writers and copywriters. We have about 75 to 100 writers sitting across India, and each of these writers are categorized, you know, uh, between. I mean, each of them are subject matter experts in different subjects, and they are genre experts in different genres of formats of copy and content. Now, if I would simplify that a little bit, there is a whole lot of copy and content out there, right? There are blogs, there's others, there's social media copy, there's newsletters, there's brochures, there's TVCs, there's ad copies, there's a whole lot of things. There's Wikipedia pages. I'm sorry. So what we do as writers is we do not stress out our writers or our writing team, saying that they should be each one of them should be efficient enough to perform in all formats of content, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous us considering the types of content there is. So because of our range of writers, we can write in almost every format of content or across any subject that's given to us. And if there happens to be something new that comes to us that we've never done before, we're very good at exploring it. So that's what Content Garage is all about. We call ourselves the mechanics simply because garage is our last name. So we are the content mechanics, and yeah, that's me, and my that's what I do, and that's what my business is all about.
That is awesome. Now, so we it in I'm going to ask you a couple questions based on what you said, just because in the beginning it was breaking up a little bit. There seems
Yeah.
to be some technical difficulties on my end too, streaming to LinkedIn as well. So it's just one of those days today. Like there's just some things going on across the board. So give me 1 second. Those of you who are watching the replay, give us 1 second. Let me just see what is happening on LinkedIn just to make sure, because we don't want all this information to go to waste. We actually want to make sure that we can see Crisenta while she's speaking. So let me check that real quick. It does look like it is now on LinkedIn as well. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. Let me go back for a second. So Content Garage does a basically a plethora of content
Yes.
in a number of areas.
Yes.
So this is for anything from social media captions to books.
Absolutely.
Wow. And you said now how many writers did you say you have?
75 to 100, give or take.
Wow. 75 to 100 writers. So obviously with that large of a team, there's pretty much nothing that you cannot do.
Correct. I mean, I
So
don't I don't want to be arrogant, but yes.
that's not arrogance. That's not arrogance. That's just facts. That
Yeah.
with 75 to 100 writers, and you do everything from social media captions to write books.
Yeah.
That's a very wide spectrum. And so that I
Yes.
mean that speaks to the ability that you have, and that range now allows you to cast a very wide net. So I could be on one end of the spectrum and all I need is social media captions and you can work with me. I might be on the other end of the spectrum and I need an entire ebook done and you can help me there too, and everything in between. So that is awesome. And listen, you those of you who are watching or watching the replay, you'll be able to find out how you can meet with Crisenta and how you can connect with Crisenta a little later on. Let me just make this announcement as well. For those of you, I know last week there were some people who were commenting on LinkedIn, but it was not showing up here. I apologize for that. If that happens to you this week, we'll make sure that we acknowledge your comments after the show as well. All right. So, Crisenta,
Yeah.
can we go back a little bit?
Yes.
I'm always interested in the backstory, right? So, I know what it is because you and I have talked already. But share with us what even led you into this space. Like, what have you always done this? Is it was it a dream? Like, what? Tell me the backstory. How'd you get to this space?
Yes. Um, Growing up, I was intrigued by language, especially the English language. I was always intrigued, and I was so because I'm from India, and India. as a subcontinent or as a country, we have diverse cultures, right? So I come from Kerala, the southernmost state in India, and so at least my parents, they were born there. I was also born there. I wasn't raised there, but because of because of where I was born, I had the mother tongue influence in my language, in my speech, right? So which was which is not so much of a problem when you look at it today. But when I was growing up, people were not really forgiving because I grew up in the northern part of India where they had a whole different kind of a mother tongue influence, but they would laugh at the mother tongue influence from the south, and so it was not very forgiving when I was growing up, right?
Mm.
So it so happened that I once misspoke in front of my friends as a little girl, and they laughed at me. And I said, okay, that's not really nice. But I decided that I'm going to change the way I'm going to master the language, and I'm really going to change the way I write, the way I speak, the way I communicate, the way I articulate. And even as a 12-year-old, of course, these were not the big words or these were not the jargons in my head, but that was the idea, that was the motive. So I started working on my language. I picked up a dictionary. The first thing I did was I worked on my pronunciations. I worked on my vocabulary, and then that's how the journey begins. And then when I was 13, I was writing poems. I was writing short stories, and I just got into it. Uh, Professionally, this was not what I mean, I wanted to write because I wanted to become a journalist, right? So I did my master's in international journalism from Brunel University, London, and I wanted to become a journalist. But it was at the fag end of my program that I realized that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to do journalism because I felt like I wasn't cut out for it.
Okay.
So then what were my options? And I was looking at what to do in life. And my brother, he had an agency, a creative agency, a marketing agency, and he said, "Why don't you join us as a copywriter and write because you're good at it, and then and explore what you want to do with life." We said, "Okay, I'll explore. I mean, I'm good at writing. I love writing. If I can do that 24/7, then I mean, that's sorted." So I said, "Fine." I worked with my brother in his agency, and then I just realized that I was naturally good at it as I explored different clients across or brands across different segments. And I realized that I was able to do it because I was good at research. I was good at picking up new skills that I didn't have, and I was just able to deliver each time. And I said, okay, this is good. So then copywriting and content writing is the thing for me. And I worked with a few agencies and all that. And then at some point, I had a string of bad bosses in my life. I think all of us have that when we're in jobs, right?
Yeah.
It was that made it was that pivotal point in my life wherein I said, okay, I'm going to start something on my own where I will hire a team of writers and I will get them projects. So that time I didn't think of it as a company or as a brand. I just wanted to start something where I could have a team of my own, and I promised myself that I would be a better boss, much better than any of those people that I had been with.
Hmm.
And that's how Content Garage happened. So uh, content writing happened to me accidentally, although I was really really lost and lost in the art always. And once that was there, and once I decided to go from being a salaried person to becoming an entrepreneur, i knew I knew that was my calling. I was meant to be a contentpreneur, like I call myself. So
Hmm. That I love it. And so talk about that period of time. Like what happened between the moment that you said, okay, you know what? I want to go out on my own. What what happened from that moment to actually saying, okay, we're open for business now?
Uh, a lot of things, and not very nice things. So,
Mm.
one good thing that happened was I live in I grew up in a family of business people. So my dad's always an entrepreneur. My brother ventured out into business and supported business as well, entrepreneurship as well. So I had the support that I wanted in my immediate family. However, it was soon after I got married, and my married family didn't really understand entrepreneurship. This
Mm.
was meant
Okay.
for a select set of people and not for everyone. So One thing, because of the nature of my work and the nature of my business, and because all the conversations were remote, pretty much remote, even back then, 2016. I know there were a lot of people in my extended family and in my married family who thought I was just doing nothing with life. They thought I was just sitting around, fooling around, and they didn't really understand that this was something serious, right? That was obviously just one of the challenges, and not the biggest of challenges, just one of the challenges.
Hmm.
But the other thing that happened was even the clients that I was reaching out to, people I'd worked with in the past. So these were brands that knew me or brand owners that knew me. They were okay giving me work. But for anybody else, it was just a nobody who would just walk up to them and say, I can do your content for you. Why don't you give me a go? Why don't you give it a chance? Or give it a try. And I would not always be met with the most positive, uh,
Hmm.
responses because well, I think one of my problems was my geography. I lived in a place, or I was in a community where people didn't really understand content, didn't really respect content, and hence didn't really respect content writers or copywriters. So that was a problem that I faced. That was something that I had to go through, wherein I had to build respect, or I had to command respect or demand respect for myself. Because it had just got to a point where it would be ridiculous, where people would say, I mean, we can write, all of us can write. It's just that we don't have the time to. So we don't really need to pay you for it. So
Mm.
there was a whole lot of that. There was like 95% of the responses was that, and everybody ended up giving me work. But then I know that, there were times when we were grossly underpaid. I still think sometimes we are, but at the start, it was ridiculous, how much people were willing to pay us. So there was, and I was also a woman in a man's world. So
Mm.
although also the world is opening up, and I mean there are so many more women who are entrepreneurs. But if you look at us globally, also how many women? Like what's the ratio? And then when you look at India, the ratios, like the difference is much bigger. So I
Okay.
was a woman in a man's world, trying to make myself heard, trying to make myself visible. And it was difficult. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the easiest and the smoothest of journey. But today I can say this with conviction, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I love that you shared that. I love that you were willing to share that because in this life of an entrepreneur, we are often inundated with the all the good stuff, all the sexy stuff, all the money stuff, all the success stuff, all the bright lights stuff. But we don't often hear the very real stories like what you just shared of the challenges and you being in a male dominated space and having to establish yourself and establish a foothold and what that looks like and being underpaid and the just what the journey looks like, what certain parts of the journey we don't get exposed to that as much as we probably should. And so you have people who jump into entrepreneurship thinking that, oh, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur today and I'm gonna own a private plane next month. It doesn't work like that. And so I appreciate that you are willing to share that. And we all, if we're honest, have these stories about. I was listening to someone talk about entrepreneurship recently at a university, and what he was saying is what people don't, what they don't tell people they're signing up for is the struggle. And
Exactly.
so, yeah, you can sign up for all the great things, but in order to get to the great things, there's a significant amount of struggle that you're going to have to go through. And that's what you got to be willing to sign up for. Everybody can enjoy the money and the lights and all that. Everybody knows how to enjoy that, but everybody doesn't know how to walk through the struggle. So I appreciate you sharing that. That is awesome. So now here we are, several years later, 75 to 100 writers on your team, creating content for folk all over the world and just shining in that space. I think that's incredible. I think that's incredible. So what are because you have such a wide range of things you do, is there something within that range that is your favorite? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but is there a favorite type of content you like to create?
Yes. So if you ask for my favorite type of content, uh, it's usually the most creative kind of content where I get to create things from scratch. Or as a team, we get to build things from scratch. So whether it's a brand story, or whether it's even giving it a voice, or whether it's writing a book, those are our favorite kind of content creation. However, those are not our most selling services.
Gotcha.
The
Okay.
ones that people usually want, like the most amount of work that we do is for blogs, for articles, SEO content, and social media. Simply because that's become water and air for people, right? You can't really A brand cannot survive without content going out constantly, without Google being able to monitor it constantly, rank it constantly, social media picking it up, producing it. So because of the need of the hour, that is what we write the most in. But if you were to tell me that, what, I'll give you all the money you need to sustain yourself and all the money you can dream of, you can do just whatever you want, then I'd be writing a book sitting in a corner. That's what I would love to do the most any given
Okay.
day.
So you hear it, folks. The book writing piece. If that's something you need, then here's the person that you need to talk to. We got Gareth Wax in the house. Gareth said, "Great interview as always, Oliver. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you." He also said, "Great work, Crisenta." So remember that name, Gareth Wax. You're going to see him here with me as well. A little bit down the road, he will be a guest as well. I'm looking forward to that conversation as well. Thank you, Gareth, for being here and being a part of this experience. So you like to write books. That would be the thing. If you could do that all day long, that would be your thing. However, the thing that sells the most, if you will, is the social media content, blogs, and SEO content. Can I ask you, a from your professional opinion, why is it that there's so many people who don't pay a lot of attention to SEO? Now, for those of you who are like, what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization, right? So, can you explain a little bit about what SEO is? What's the importance of SEO and why individuals who are writing blogs, who have websites, because there's a million people who have websites and we're not paying attention to this. Why is this even important?
Simply because, see, the only reason people do blogs or people even want to do SEO or should do SEO is because they want to be found by more than the few people who know them personally. See, there is the word of mouth marketing, as we call it, but there is also that, where strangers walk up to you or they identify you or find you. And how do they find you? It's because, they go onto Google and write things like dentist near me, or florist near me, or florist in California, or whatever, right? So uh, why SEO becomes really important is because the words that people type on Google to find you are the words that writers, SEO experts, as well as SEO writers, use in the content to drive business your way. So, if you use the right keywords that have been identified in that period, or for that, that's right for that time and for your geography, people will find you faster than they could find you otherwise, or faster than word of mouth could get you business. Hence, SEO is important because, see, at the end of the day, if you do a Google search, any random Google search, you will see that there are hundreds of pages that Google lists out for you with, everything that's relevant to your search. But how many pages realistically would you open? Or how many links, or links on how many pages would you open? I have in my entire experience as a contentpreneur, I have barely even gone to the second page. Like, my search ends on page one.
Yeah.
So if you don't go beyond page one, and there are so many businesses that are competing with you, some of them they are direct competition. Some of them are, maybe they're not direct competition, but they just wanted to play around with your keyword because they wanted business coming their way that way. But you are lost in that entire universe of businesses. So you need a constant SEO, constant communication going out so that Google can remember you. Okay, so Google is AI. It can remember everyone and everything, but then it has to still rank on a given page. So you need to constantly and correctly do your SEO so that you can appear on page one, maybe page two, but preferably on page one, so that people can find you easily, quickly, and relevantly.
That's good, and you said it perfectly. You said even you as a content person, probably you're not going past page two.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that. That's something very tangible that people can grab onto because they all have experienced a Google search and recognizing that there are tons of pages. And I can tell you right now, I know I haven't gone past page three. And the only reason I even got to three was just I just had some time on my hands. so so SEO is important if you are trying to be seen. If you want to be seen in that search, if you want to be one of the first few people that pop up. And the obvious reason for that is the more you're seen, the greater chances are that you will be able to garner business. And Crisenta is gifted in that area. So if you want content that is going to be SEO driven and is going to be able to get you in a space where you need to rank, you're going to have to stay till the end so you can figure out how to get in contact with her. Where you don't, you're going to have to stay to the end because I want you to stay to the end. Where is it? Where are we at? It's over there somewhere. Go over there, over, over there. You can see her name, and you can see where she's at. But that's what you want. You want somebody who can help you do that and get you in that space. So listen, you speaking of writing, and you mentioned AI just now. We're going to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about this AI thing because I would imagine that that is as wonderful as that technology is probably a thorn of some kind. And we're going to talk about that
Oh yeah.
in a little bit. You did a big fix, a matter of fact, that I had the opportunity, pleasure to sit in on, where you were talking about some things related to AI. We're going to get into that in just a second. I want to play something very quick about the big fix. And then after that, I'll come back and talk about the big fix. And then, Crisenta, you and I will talk about your experience with the big fix as well. So after we hear this brief word from my friend Elena, we'll come back and finish talking with Crisenta. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena Lafferty and I'm a high performance coach focusing on intuition at the subconscious level, working with men and women who have become stuck in reverse. So today I was part of this wonderful meeting called Big Fix, and I absolutely loved it because the flow of ideas and suggestions and examples was amazing and have created so much information that I can use for my business. It was incredible. So I just can recommend it. If you ever need some help, this is the place to be. Thank you.
So that was Elena talking about the big fix. Let me share very briefly what the big fix is. So those of you who are familiar with the mastermind concept where you sit in the hot seat, that is essentially what we're talking about. Now, here's what you get to do. You get to come to this event, share your goals, your vision, your dreams for your business, any pain points, challenges you may have, any questions you may have about your business. And the group's sole goal is to pour into you ideas, suggestions, possible collaborations, systems, tools to help you move the needle in the areas that you talked about. Now, this is a group of individuals from all over the globe in a number of different industries, and it is a phenomenal experience. So, if you want to be a part of this, there's the information on the screen, or you can reach out to me wherever you are watching this right now. Let me tell you something, it's free. Now, if you're also familiar with the mastermind concept, you know that the word free and the word mastermind often doesn't come in the same sentence. This is a free experience where you can walk away with a phenomenal amount of advice that you can then do one of two things with. You can go forth and be great. You're going to get a full detailed report. You're going to get videos of this experience. You can go forth and be great. The other option is that you can come back to the group. There are people that are cleverly positioned within the group to help you begin the implementation process. And there are ways you can do that without paying cash. And we'll talk about that at another time. But Silvertree now allows you to be able to do business with these folks and not have to come out of pocket cash because you could use the internal currency called silver. So we want you to be a part of this. Even if you're not ready to sit in the hot seat, reach out to me and say, hey, listen, man, I heard about this big fix thing. I would just like to listen in and sit in. Sure, we would welcome you to do that. All right. So, Crisenta, you had an opportunity to go through this process. So let me ask you this first. What did you go into it with any expectations?
Not, I mean, yes and no. Uh, I I wanted for entrepreneurs from all walks and all experiences to hear me out and help me out if at all. Uh, y- uh, that said, I was still unsure when I first went in there. I was unsure because I thought my problems were big, and I didn't think that there would really be something that followed. But I was surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. I like that. I like to hear that. So talk about what was it that you, as you sat in the hot seat, what was it that you brought to the hot seat experience? What were you trying to gain? What was the issue that you brought to the table for the entrepreneurs to handle?
Yes. So we mentioned AI just before you played the video. So for me, my problem as a writer was essentially that AI ate up all my business.
Mm,
Uh, so I worked in a way wherein 80% of my business was being conducted in India for brands in India, and 20% was spread worldwide across the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the Middle East. Uh, this 80% of the business that was you. So ChatGPT is introduced worldwide slowly. It comes to India as well, and by the time it comes into India, one of the first things that got knocked off everybody's marketing plate was content writing, because
mm.
they realized that if they put in a few words, ChatGPT would give them the content they need, and practically overnight, practically overnight, we lost all the business in India. So
Wow.
we went from doing a good amount of business with brands in India to losing all of it.
I think I think I might have lost you for a second. You, I think it's frozen. But what Crescenta was saying is that while she's coming back, what she was saying is that
Yes,
based on ChatGPT, that the 80% of the business that was in India now dissipated because people could go to ChatGPT and do that.
yes.
Man, that
Can
wow.
yeah,
Talk about a setback.
yeah.
That's
I
incredible.
mean, seriously, and that is when and I had a large team to take care of. I had so many things. I didn't want to let go of my people, because they were already hit by COVID just a little time ago, and there was just a whole lot that was not working in people's favor, and I really didn't want to do that to my team. But that happened to us, and every time we would go to a brand, or the business owner, they would tell us, nee, chat gpt can do what you're doing, and much faster. So sorry, we don't want you guys. I mean, that's money better spent elsewhere.
Hmm.
So and I think, again, it goes back to the geography also, because when people, a lot of people, like, at least now people really understand content, they understand the importance of content and all of that. But it took us a while to get there as a society, as a region.
Mhm.
And then when they get access to this, they're like, okay, we don't need you anymore. But fortunately, what's happening is we have noticed a turnaround. I mean, there are business owners, reaching out to us again saying, yeah, it didn't really work. I mean, it didn't last.
Mhm.
That romance is over, that honeymoon's over. Now we want you guys back. So that's a good thing. But that did happen, and I mean, it was just, it was not a good place for us and a good time for us.
Yeah, I can only imagine, and that has been an ongoing conversation as it relates to AI. The interesting thing is coming into 2024, one of the projections around AI is that human written content. We were talking about SEO earlier.
Yeah.
One of the trends they say will happen in 2024 is that human written content will actually rank higher for SEO than AI written content, and hopefully what that will do for you. You said you're already seeing an uptick in the right direction, but as people really kind of catch on and understand that trend and see it starting to play out, that should then get people running back to you, because the people who understand the importance of SEO are going to want to remain close to the top of that page. And if human written content is what's going to get you there, you're going to have to get somebody like a Crisenta on team to help you. So, thankfully, the trends and the projections are working in your favor.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So bringing that to the table, what did you said you were pleasantly surprised? Talk
Yes.
about that. Why were you pleasantly surprised? What happened?
Yes. So my big fix, our big fixes are spread over 2 days. Of course, you know that. And what happened was, on both days, I had a very distinct set of entrepreneurs that attended both the sessions. So I received feedback. On I received not just feedback but options, suggestions, opportunities. Like, it was just a widespread menu of things that that came my way post the big fix. So what happened was, there were people trying to tell me that, if we were in your place and had this happened to us, we would have done it this way. So it helped me see a perspective that I could never have thought of on my own. I
Mhm.
could never have come up with that idea. There were people who told me that, what, maybe it happened to you at the right time, or it happened to you because you were anyways looking at pivoting into other markets, other geographies, and maybe it's come to you at the right time that, you're also part of this community, and now you have access to more international businesses. And it helped me realize that, yeah, I mean, fortunately those days are behind me. I now have a whole new thing to look forward to. I had people, very senior business people with really existing massive businesses, who want to enter into the Indian market, and they said, what, we could use you to get into the Indian market. And I'm like, I just realized that that was an opportunity I would never have put myself up there for. I would never have thought of that opportunity for myself, or thought myself worthy of an opportunity like that. And that just walks into my life. Uh, so it was just a whole lot of, and people empathizing with me, rather than, telling me that I should never have done this in my life. I should just have done something secure, something safe.
Mhm.
So I had people who were there to really help me. And I know that, after the big fix, I cried in gratitude, saying, thank you, Lord. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for introducing me to this lovely group of people. And these people who really care about me. They don't know me, but they care about me. And, they're doing so much to help me find my way back. So,
Wow. Listen, if that's not an endorsement for the big fix, I don't know what is. There's nothing left for me to say except for you need to schedule your big fix appointment ASAP. You can do that looking at the information on your screen, or you can reach out to me, send a message wherever you are watching this. That is awesome. I'm so happy for you that that was your experience, and that you are beginning to see just a window into the expansion that's possible. And there are great things in store. I already know it. There are great things in store. It's a phenomenal group of individuals who do care. They do want to see you thrive. And I say this all over the place. They actually want to see you win. You know, you go to certain places, certain fellowships, certain networking groups, certain entities where what they're doing is trying to one up each other. So if one person says something and it looks like they're shining brightly, let me see how I can shine a little bit brighter. This group, the sole purpose of this group is when you come into the space, we want to figure out how you win when you leave the space. How you win, not how we win, how you win. And so I love the fact that that was your experience. Listen, I could keep you here forever. Number one, I'm not going to, because it's nighttime where you are, and it is time for you to relax and do what you do in the evening. But before I let you go, there's just two more things I want to do. I want to get some advice from you. All of our guests, we get some advice from our guests, and for you, I want to do two pieces of advice. That's normally what I do for each guest. But for you, I want the first piece of advice I want you to give to content creators, because like you, many other content creators were battling the AI space and the beautiful experience that that technology can bring versus the adversity that it can bring as it relates to their business being crushed as a result. So, what advice would you give to content creators that are navigating this space to help them navigate it successfully?
So, content creators, one thing you must bear in mind is there is no stopping AI. Whatever you have been through because of AI, or whatever you have experienced with AI or because of AI, it's just going to magnify a lot more from here. So, trying to run away from the situation is not going to help you at all. What you have to do is you have to embrace the fact that AI is here, and try and find your way out, and see how you can evolve from this point on. What I will say is there is no dearth of opportunities out there. I struggled because I lost my business in India. But had I thought about or thought about all the opportunities out there, maybe I wouldn't have had such a hard time. So there is no dearth of opportunities. Go look for opportunities outside of your comfort zone, outside of where you are right now and what you are doing right now. There are a million kinds of content and content opportunities out there. Just leave your comfort space, look for something else that you can do, or somewhere else you can do it, and go find the right people you could do it with. For me, I was blessed, to be introduced to love entrepreneurs at the right time. I mean, after all that, when I had nothing more to lose, I met the best kind of guys, the best set of people who would, who have always been kind and have extended their support anytime I wanted it, anytime I needed it. And there are people like that all over the place. Look for your tribe and look for the opportunities in another place. Get out of your comfort zone.
I love it. Get out of your comfort zone. That's awesome. I love it. The second piece of advice is for just entrepreneurs in general. You talked about, and you were very candid about, some of the experiences that you had that were negative, or challenging, should I say, where family didn't really believe you were doing anything, or there were times where people didn't really respect what you did as a content writer. Like, oh, everybody knows how to write. Like, we go through those challenging moments in our journey. What would be your advice to entrepreneurs to not allow? How do we not allow those challenging moments to cause us to quit?
Uh, See, an entrepreneur's journey is never going to be easy. come what may. Like you said right at the start, everyone thinks that it's glamorous and sexy, and the moment you're an entrepreneur, everything just works out for you. It doesn't. It never does. I mean, even when you're the biggest or the richest man, there will always be something to do and something new to do. Not because you want to earn money, but because there is really something else to do, right? So an entrepreneur is always on that journey. It's not going to be easy, but what it can be is it can be easier than it is today. So yes, there are going to be problems in personal life and other times. Like if I may just say this, Oliver, like today is my wedding anniversary, and one
Oh,
thing I uh, so when I decided to do this today, and when I was looking at the, when I opted for this day, my thought process was, if it's a special day for me, I want to do something special that is not unusual kind of special. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go out for dinner. I don't want to do this. I want to learn something. There's a webinar tonight because I want to learn. There's a course that I'm doing because I want to learn. So, as an entrepreneur, you will always have to make difficult choices. Like you can either do the most regular, the most basic, the most expected of things, or you can do things that that keep you on your path and keep you steering towards your goal. And irrespective of how big your problems are, or how many your problems are, what an entrepreneur must do is keep sight, or keep that goal in mind and just steer towards it. Walk past the currents, walk against the currents, swim against the currents, do what it takes, but go there, never give up.
wow. So, first of all, that's fantastic advice. First of all. Second of all, let me see if I can get some balloons here. Let me see if they'll do the balloons. Oh, there we go. Fireworks. So I really got to let you go now because I did not know it was your wedding anniversary. So the show is done. Okay, that's it. We're done. We're done. So how how can last thing? How can people get a hold of you? I see they if you look on the screen, you can see Crisenta's website. What's the best way to get in touch with you? Because we
uh,
want folk to work with you.
yes, I have my email ID, crisenta at contentgarage.com. Yeah, that's my email ID right there. You can get in touch with me there. Look me up on LinkedIn. I have a very unique name. You will find me the moment you put in my first name. Look
Mhm.
me up on LinkedIn. DM me. Just say hello. Get in touch, and be rest assured, I'll get back in a couple of hours. If it's not more than that, I won't take too long. Even if we are in two very different geographies and I'm very far away from you, the time zone doesn't matter. I will get in touch soon enough. So yeah, LinkedIn and my email ID there.
Excellent. And for LinkedIn, if you look in the description of wherever you are watching this right now, you will see Crescenta's LinkedIn link there. You can connect with her there. Listen, can I give you some applause real quick?
Thank you.
Thank you for taking some time out, man. Not only is it nighttime there, but it is your wedding, and man, that's crazy. I kind of feel bad now. I feel bad about that. I didn't know that.
No, no, not at all.
Congratulations on your wedding anniversary. That is
Thank
awesome.
you.
May you have many more anniversaries as well. Please tell your husband thank you for this opportunity to steal some time steal some time away from him. So thank you for that. I don't take that lightly. Listen, I'm gonna put you backstage just for a moment. I'm going to quickly end the show and just come back and say thank you in just a moment. Okay, so I'll be right
Sure.
with you just a moment. Thank you again for your time. We appreciate you. That was Crescenta. Listen, you have to connect with her. Hands down. That's it. You have to connect with her. You saw her information on the screen. You've heard some things that look, there's one thing she said in her advice that I need you to latch on to. And let me see if I can get it right. I might not get it exactly the way she said it, but I'm gonna see if I can get it at least close to what she said. She said that um it how does she say it? She said it might not get better, but it can be better than it was, or something along those lines. Actually, I got hold on. We gotta bring her back. I gotta bring her back. 1 second. Crescenta, you said, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. She may be having some issues. She may be having some issues. But essentially, here's what she was saying: that you it's about perspective. And I said this a while ago. It's about perspective that things may not always be what they are, what they should be, but they can be better than what they were. And I need you to remember that as you go on this journey, right? We talked about success in the beginning and your definition of success. You heard Crisenta's story about the adversity that she's gone through. And when things started to rise, then she had another hiccup with AI coming into the mix and how she has gone through that process and is seeing an uptick. So here's my advice to you: stay on the journey. The life of an entrepreneur is a journey. We want you to enjoy the journey. And hearing stories like this and getting inspiration from people like Crisenta is a phenomenal way to ensure that you stay on the journey. All right. That's been another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. Life is a journey. We want you to enjoy the journey. And you got some great ideas, suggestions, and tips today on how to do that. All right. So listen, we'll see you next time. Have a phenomenal rest of your week. And man, that was good. Later.